And we're going to talk a little bit about developing apps for cars, how to bring them actually into vehicles, and to also look into specific use cases through a service that Nils represents. So we basically have two parts to the presentation today. Was anyone already in a Android automotive or car-related panel these past 3 days? All right, so get ready to hear some info maybe again. Did you guys see Carrier Talk before? One yesterday maybe? All right, okay, alrighty. We'll try not to bore you with the same stuff. Does anyone already develop apps for cars? Woohoo! All right, nice. Okay, so I'll probably not telling you too much new stuff. But I'll try to give you a little bit of an insight in how we see the world as Carriot. Last question, I promise. Carriot, does everybody know who we are? Okay. I'll just quickly explain. So we're part of the Volkswagen Group, and we're actually the software division within the VW family. So we are actually centralizing a lot of the developments around software within that entity, and making that available to the various brands that we have within the VW Group. We've been around for a few years, and so we're catering and bringing services into all sorts of vehicles, be it from Audi, Porsche, VW, Seat, Cupra, Skoda, and so on. We are not just working in the space of infotainment, but we're also doing the real rocket science stuff like autonomous driving and things like that. And we're actually based in Germany, but we're also have teams in the US and in China, and catering to different markets and technology needs in various parts of the world. So as you guys know, because it's a big group that's already somewhat looking into automotive, there is a lot of change going on in the whole auto space. Certainly e-mobility and everything that comes with EVs changes a lot. We're also bringing in loads more aspects that are related to connectivity, and obviously through a car company and a software company like us within automotive, that's becoming a key pillar in actually defining and building vehicles for the future. So along with that shift in technology and the car becoming sort of part of our always-on lifestyle, we're certainly seeing that there is a paradigm shift, there's different needs, there's different customer expectations and things that we need to take care of. All these displays that are into cars, I don't know if any of you have checked out our Q6 at the booth before, so it's definitely changing, and there's different aspects of infotainment that come with it. So the good old radio days are not over, and audio is still a very dominant aspect in automotive, but certainly we're rocking the boat because the car is becoming a more accessible and flexible device throughout the lifetime. And that comes with challenges, but also great opportunities. So the whole shift that we're seeing because of the connected cars and because of the electric vehicles and how people are actually interacting with the car is making it into a very unique space. And that's part of the storyline that we're trying to tell you today. Yes, developing apps for cars and bringing services into cars is something that can be done quite quickly and quite easily, but we're also encouraging people to take it serious as a device of its own, because it has a very unique way of interacting, be it through the screens, be it through the speakers, be it to all these different elements that you have in the car, and that allows actually for a more engaging and personalized experience further down the road. And that's something that we're actually happy to talk to you guys about what can we do, how can we actually push the envelope and make engaging experiences in the car. One example, of course, we're riding the hype train. There is AI stuff happening in the car. It's just been announced a few days ago that ChatGPT is supported in new Audi models. That is actually the interior of your Q6 that you're seeing there, brand new Android-based vehicle, and we also already have it within the Volkswagen family.
Hello, Ida. Do you think a kilt is formal enough for a red carpet event?
According to ChatGPT, people regard kilts as elevated dress suitable for formal affairs.
Fantastic. Find me the nearest kilt shop.
Okay.
And Ida, play Scottish playlist.
I'm playing Scottish playlist.
Kilt it is.
The VW ID7 with ChatGPT, making technology feel human. Volkswagen.
And that's a different example here that we're seeing different interactions. This is just some food for thought, what it could be like when you're actually engaging with your car, when you have an assistant that actually talks to you in a conversational style in a vehicle. So that's just a glimpse, an outlook, connecting the dots. There's different services, there's different things in the car that you want to use seamlessly, that you want integrated in your user journey, and how to make that possible. And certainly conversational assistants and AI will help us achieve that. So we are actually talking about that the whole engagement and the way that we interact with the vehicle is changing in the near future, and I think we've already shown that there is examples out there that are proving that. It's droidcon, so we're going to talk a little bit about Android. We thought that's a good idea. So if you guys are already engaging with automotive, I think you can see that trend that Android is definitely something that's taking a big chunk, and that is becoming a common and important theme in automotive, also for us. So what we did is, together with the guys at Harman, again, check out our booth later on, is to take Android as a foundation, and to actually bring applications into the car and make it easier for developers and also for us to actually bring stuff to life in vehicles. The great thing is that we can use our leverage as the Volkswagen Group to actually bring that into many cars and throughout the brands that we have, and to roll it out into various markets. And that makes it, we believe, attractive for developers, because it assists and supports the idea of consolidation, reducing fragmentation, taking out the complexity of actually providing a service into automotive. So some of the pain points that have been there in the past are at least being reduced by that choice and platform. As said, we're doing that across cars and makes and models, and that actually allows us to bring a whole array of services to users and drivers. And through those different categories, we are actually seeing that people are using the car differently. Watching a video when charging, taking a scenic route instead of the fastest way from A to B, being entertained in several different ways. And that's, I think, a way that we can also shape the journey and providing those new use cases. So singing karaoke, we had some guys checking it out in the car yesterday, and we're partying. I think that one is still a good one. But there's a bunch of services. These are just some examples who are taking what I said earlier quite seriously and saying, okay, I'm not just going to take an app that already exists, but I'm making something specific for the car. So I have weather information that actually suggests a different route to me because of the conditions ahead. I can check out where the nearest hotel is nearby. We just launched Booking.com in our car, so you can actually choose and get your destination going. You can take inspiration to where you're traveling, or do a quiz trivia based on your current location. So there's tons of stuff where we're seeing this is not just a mobile or tablet app that's been transported, but that is actually embracing automotive as a unique use case. Building an app for cars is not super difficult. Yes, there are unique things about it. Yes, there are some stuff that is specific, but there's a lot of things that you can actually already rely on. So the templates for automotive, a bunch of audio services using these, so your driver distraction safe is actually a good starting point for many app developers, and what we call custom UI apps, so bringing your own HMI, your own interface into the car with your app is also completely possible, and also depending a little bit on the use case. Of course, we can't let people watch video when driving, at least not when they're in the driver's seat, but then if you're charging your car, as said, that is actually a use case that we believe is very promising, and that actually allows using existing applications and transferring them into cars with a limited effort. And customizing an application is also not a huge deal. There are some common factors that I think people need to take into consideration. So you can imagine you're kind of sitting in a fixed chair and you have a fixed distance to a screen which is inbuilt. So it's not quite like a tablet. There is a different way of interaction. So the touch targets should have a decent size, for example. These are just some things to acknowledge and to maybe take into consideration when actually building an app for automotive. And then there's some standard stuff, taking obviously different screen sizes and elements into account. Okay, so how do you actually become part of our ecosystem together with Harman? It's not that difficult. You get access to a developer console, you get access to an emulator that you actually can use for testing and making your app bulletproof. We'll support you throughout the testing journey, also through benches and doing it in the actual cars. And then it doesn't take a super long time to actually have a service in front of customers in the vehicles. So if anyone is interested, approach us afterwards or swing by booth 16 and we can talk about bringing your app to our ecosystem. All right, so I think we've come a good way in automotive in introducing something like this, an app store and Android Automotive, and building stuff on top of it. But there are certainly challenges ahead. There's no doubt about it. And we're not at the end of the journey, we're just starting it. So we need to further consolidate, we need to grow ecosystems so they become meaningful, so they scale, so it's actually a good target for developers as well. We need to integrate with all these different services and possibilities that the car has to offer, and we need to make it easy for customers to actually enjoy that stuff and make it very usable. Yeah, payment is one of the things, so it's gonna, monetization is certainly an aspect that comes into it also for app developers, and actually opening up different APIs and making a more engaging experience. That's also something that we see on our roadmap. And, of course, communication and having messages being productive in the car with all the fun bits and all the karaoke stuff aside is also super important. And that's why I actually brought Nils along to the stage, who are doing a service like that. And they can actually share some insights, what it is like to develop for cars and why it is a good idea overall. So, yeah. Come join us, check out the booth, join the ecosystem, and I'll hand over to Nils to talk a little bit about specific app development.
All right. Thanks very much, Sven. Nice to meet you all. My name is Nils. Very fortunate to be here on stage today with Carriot, and thanks to Harman for having us on their store. We on the booth and on the vehicle. You can see our app. As Sven mentioned, it's about in-car messaging, in-car productivity. So, if I were to ask you whether you've been checking your mails on your phone, usually people look on the ground and don't want to admit to it, but we've all done it. We've been driving and feeling the pressure that we need to look who sent a message or what's going on today, or what should I prepare, because let's face it, driving can be boring, of course not in the vehicles of the Carriot group, but sometimes you have a situation where you think it's totally excusable to look down at the phone. But in Germany, by statistics, it now causes more fatal accidents than drunk driving to be distracted. And that is something we want to help avoid. Now, people will always go for the best UI, and we are so intertwined now with our phones that it's quite natural to just grab the phone and check what's going on, even though you shouldn't be doing it. So people feel the pressure to stay connected. And if we want to provide a solution here, we need to make sure that it really works with all the in-car messaging requirements. We get loads of tools that we stay connected with, on average about 12 tools for email, instant messaging, calendar, CRM, ERP, you name it, and we've come to expect those to be available to us wherever we go. So that is the idea behind the in-car messenger. It's you see the interior of the Q6 e-tron here with its interesting steering wheel, where I'm not quite sure where they place the airbag in this one, but just to visualize it, what's going on really is it's an Android Automotive OS app that's available on the Carriot app store. That just integrates with the Harman app store. And it makes it certain that you receive all your messages from all your different providers in an integrated way, in a safe way, when it's opportune to look at it. Now, it is built from the ground up for the requirements for driving, meaning you have things like ETA sharing, location sharing, note-taking, reminder setting. So it's always done via voice. There's a small interaction on the graphical user interface as well, and it's assisted through our LLM-powered solutions, meaning you can get summaries, or you can understand what is the message about. Is it something that's really important right now? Is it relevant to me in this situation, or is it maybe just an Amazon shipping email that can be ignored? So we get messages in a way that you can answer it very quickly and very directly with one command. We pre-draft messages for you to send. This kind of thing is in-car messenger. Now, I think the talk here is talk about an automotive app story, and to spoil it a little bit, it is, of course, a love story, which started here a year ago at the droidcon last year. A colleague of yours was on stage, and we heard that Carriot particularly is interested in solutions for productivity and messaging, so I raised my arm and said that's exactly what we do. Now, I think we both swiped right in a way, and we got invited to a romantic setting. This is the Ingolstadt campus, and yes, I made it even look more romantic by making it gray, right? But actually, it's very lovely there. So, and we were welcomed with open arms, and yeah, basically had a first date, and with every first date you'll figure out your interests, what you like, what you don't like. You're trying to show off the things that you're doing well, or gloss over things you haven't done yet quite. Not to mention that with every relationship, you're kind of dating the whole family, which in this case is a great plus, because the family is amazing with brands like Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi, Skoda, Cupra, Seat, Lamborghini, and Bentley. And so what attracted us to this relationship as well is to have one partner to cover all the solutions for the different family members here. And that is, I believe, the biggest one manufacturer store available. And as a developer of an app, that obviously has importance to us because we want to get to the right audience and the right numbers. And so that has been a beautiful relationship ever since. Now, when we actually put in the work into the relationship, it turns out this is a bit of a love triangle, but a very healthy one, where you speak to Carriot and Harman. But they've, again, to completely overstretch this love story metaphor, they're really good communicators in a way, so that we have very clear directions on what is possible and what's allowed on Carriot on Harman's side. So now that also means that we don't have to be too restricted to what Android Automotive OS requires. So we are a messaging app, and there's no messaging template as yet. So it involves a custom UI, as Sven pointed out, and for that we're grateful that Carriot and Harman have shown the support in finding a solution that is going to be allowed whilst driving. Now, in this relationship, if you enter it for the first time with a car manufacturer, what you might find are some differences, and the one being like things like that you might take for granted from a mobile app development, so that you have the right emulators, that you can use the voice interface or the location device. So these are available, but it takes a bit more work than it would take you on the mobile interface. So that you need to kind of speak to people and figure out how to do that. So you have to build bridges here and there. So then, of course, compared to mobile app development, you have the UI distraction guidelines. They are not as scary as they might sound. There really are a few only to cover. Yes, obviously you can't run animations or surprise the driver while driving on the Autobahn, and they all make sense. And the flip side of that you have very clarity that if you fulfill these requirements, you will be approved. Also, the flip side of this is, as a mobile app developer, you're competing with a whole flurry of apps for the attention of the audience. And in automotive, the timing for your app is now to get the right place and to also in the thought of the driver or the user to kind of really define a category. Now, if you want to do a messaging app on the phone, people have very set expectations how they work. When it goes to automotive, you can really decide, okay, what makes sense, and define this user experience and set the standards, capture that market niche and make it your own. So it's a green field in automotive, and I highly recommend it to people to consider it. Now, this actually is a Q6 e-tron, and it is a beautiful opportunity. Then you should think about, for you, what might it be, what the right use case are. What in my experience works really well is use cases that are relevant for driving, that make driving better. So you usually have a plan to go somewhere. You're just taking joyrides all the time. So you go to work. So in our case, it's like, okay, what do people want to hear about the day ahead, or maybe things that came in overnight that you have to prepare. Or they might be going to a sales pitch. So we'll integrate with Salesforce and allow people to prepare for their next sales pitch. Or they come back home from work and want to just get some admin done and things like that. So it's relevant for us for driving. But it doesn't have to be driving only. It could be the parking mode, as Sven suggested. And this is important also for electric vehicles, where drivers are really, really keen on using their time whilst the car is charging. So just have a think of what might be for you that and allows the driver to have a better time, a better experience in the vehicle. I'm very happy to talk more about this in detail. With this, I would end this and pass over if you have any questions. Thank you.